My favorite thing about my body is that I'm really strong. I've always been really athletic. I ran track at a young age, and so I'm really competitive. I always feel like, I'm one of those people. I'm like, no, I can do it. People think I'm small, but I feel like I like to think I'm mighty. Hi, I'm Chrishell Stause, and this is my Women's Health Body Scan. I know this is gonna sound weird, but I know growing up I used to hate my feet. They were really big. I had a bigger size foot than anybody in my class. I remember a teacher telling me, wow, you're gonna be really tall. Well, I only made it to 5'6", so I ended up getting the big feet and not the height. But I don't think, now I really, it just doesn't bother me anymore. It just is one of those things that used to be in my head, and it's so silly now. Who cares how big your feet are? They're, they do their job. I still love running. They can still look cute in some shoes. Who cares what size your feet are? So I have a tattoo on my ankle. It says aspire to inspire, which is a mantra that I just have always, loved, because the idea of, that's the goal. You want to be able to inspire other people. And so, I'm in Hawaii. I'm with my best friend. We decide to get tattoos. We're at the bar having a drink, and we meet a tattoo artist at the bar. He's like, oh, my shop's upstairs. I mean, we're drinking. It's a terrible idea, but it's a very funny story. So to this day, I have a tattoo on my ankle that's hardly legible. I think we were all inspired by tequila that day, but it's supposed to say aspire to inspire. But honestly, I really don't think anyone has ever looked at it and been able to tell me what it says. It's not really legible. With Dancing with the Stars, I ended up getting an injury in my ribs, and I think it's a common injury for petite women, they said. So it was one of those lifts that I basically just had a bruised on both sides. I was bruised on my ribs. I think because, we're not used to being held and grabbed in that way, and so it really made me focus on really engaging my core and having to hold myself a certain way. When it just looks like you're standing there, you have to be engaged, and you have to, every single movement, if you're not, you'll injure yourself really quickly, really badly. But luckily it wasn't a break or crack, because they checked for that. And so I was very lucky. But it was just, then very painful to breathe. I mean, anytime I would laugh, it was a little, there was a couple weeks there where I was like, please don't make me laugh. And then I would laugh, and of course it'd be like, ow, ow, ow. One time I broke my thumb. It was in, I think, 8th grade or something around there, 7th grade maybe. But I remember being in the gym, and a basketball was coming straight at my face. And so luckily I broke my thumb, because otherwise it would have been my nose, because at the last second I saw it and went and shielded my face, and it fractured my thumb. So that's the only time I've ever broken a bone. So it was a long time ago. I had to just put it in one of those things. But yeah, so it was either that or my nose. So I got lucky. I've gone through a lot of loss that taught me, basically, I know it's sad sometimes that you go through loss to learn this lesson. I think every time this happens in someone's life where you lose something that was important to you, I think it's a checkpoint where it just really reminds you to truly cherish, the relationships that you do have in your life. I don't want to take the little things for granted that we did pre-COVID, seeing a friend, having dinner, having someone over to your house, or going to someone's house, or just really, truly those simple things. I would just say that I think before I was a little more guarded. I felt like I was trying to be a little tough with and now I just think I'm more open. And I think it's, I don't care what people think. I don't care if that makes me look like a sap, or, I think I was a little embarrassed before that people have now seen me cry, and it was a little awkward. And now, I'm embracing it. I'm living my full life. I have all the different emotions of everyone. I think I do a good job of, trying to work through those. I'm not overly emotional, but, if you're talking about a loss of a parent, or, a divorce, or something that's, this life-changing, altering events, it doesn't mean you're weak to, have those emotions. It just means you're human, I think. So you're actually catching me on a day. I didn't have time to fix it today, so don't judge. It definitely could have been, fixed a little better. But anyway, I'm very lucky. My family has really thick hair. I definitely have things that I didn't get, but the hair gene, I think I did. So, but to be honest with you, if you didn't get it, I feel like nowadays it's so easy. I even have clip-ins for, if I'm doing a photo shoot or whatever, and it's not taboo. I feel like also it's fun. I like to change my look up. The other day I did a photo shoot and they gave me a bob, which was so fun to not have to commit to a bob, but have that, fun to it. So I think, for anybody that's, self-conscious about their hair or anything like that, I think it's, in 2021, if 2020 taught us anything, it's just to, these aren't things to be ashamed of. These are facts of life. Some people got this, some people didn't. If you want that, go get it or do something, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like there's a little bit of transparency with things nowadays where it's like we don't have to pretend that we have things that we didn't. It's not a big deal. If you don't have it, you can go buy it and no one cares. First of all, I think mental health is so important right now. We have all gone through it. So I think it's important to identify that, know that you need to work on taking care of yourself because this is unprecedented times right now. So I personally, I feel like, when you're going through something really hard, personally, I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I'm also a huge advocate for, having a close circle that you trust, that you can talk to, that you can go to and say that you need help, feel comfortable, normalizing that it's okay to ask for help. Also, the little things, like a bubble bath or a glass of wine with friends, we can do that again now. We're slowly being able to do the things that I think maybe we took for granted that I feel like we'll really never take for granted again. Thank you for watching Body Scan. Don't forget to subscribe to Women's Health.